Joining us today is Cait Espe, a customer success leader with over 20 years of experience in operations, team building, and process optimization. Most recently, as VP of Customer Success and Support at Squire, she's focused on scaling teams and improving customer retention. Welcome, Cait.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today.
Same for
It
us.
is. It is. Well, I exactly. I'll just jump right into the questions. What moment in your career has taught you the most?
I think one of the defining moments of my career has been leading customer segmentation initiatives. So I've done this at a few different organizations where we really need to think about how we're scaling effectively and efficiently and really reserving our resources for higher value customers, higher level touch points. And so it really kind of forced me to think about how we think about automation, how we think about the customer journey and really how we define success, not just for our customers, but also for our teams. And so I've just really appreciated when I have those opportunities to really look at how we're efficiently operating within a success or support environment for how we can do that at scale.
That's fantastic. So, in thinking about your colleagues and team members, are there any sort of consistent terms that they might use about you?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think one of the things that my team and my peers as well would say about me is the level of kind of resiliency that I exhibit on a daily basis. I think that I navigate change really well as just been through kind of a lot of life experience and different professional opportunities as well, which I think has afforded me the opportunity to kind of test my comfortability in navigating challenges and high pressure environments. And so I really kind of use the analogy of being a duck. So ducks are very calm on the surface and then they're paddling like heck underneath the water. And that's how I like to operate. That's how I really like my teams to operate as well, because a lot of times we're interacting directly with customers. And so we need to be able to think strategically, be calm in the moment, because a lot of times there's emotions and feelings and challenges involved in those interactions. And so I think that that is one I'm most proud of. I would also hope and think that they would talk about my kind of strategic expertise. I think that I tend to approach all of the kind of unique challenges we experience in success as opportunities and thinking about the big picture and how we can do that again at scale and identify bigger picture solutions and identifying those challenges and anticipating them as early and often as possible. And then last, I think hopefully I am as empathetic with others as I try to be. I care deeply about my teams, my customers. And I think that kind of fostering those pillars of trust and transparency and respect, both in your team environment as well as with your customers, just makes for more dynamic and strong relationships.
Thoroughly agreed. Thoroughly agreed. Having been in the customer success business for several years myself, you've hit every nail on the head. And also, I will say, I love the analogy of the duck. I've used that myself. My father-in-law taught me that 20 something years ago, and I've used it to train my teams. So I love it. I'm so glad somebody
Yeah,
else thinks that way too. So,
I do too. I love that.
all right. Outside of your professional achievements, what passion project or personal interest has taught you skills that make you better at what you do?
That's a great question. I appreciate you asking. I think that I've been deeply involved, I would say, in the last 5 to 6 years in mentoring and coaching, both in my professional network as well as in my kind of personal network. I am especially passionate about mentoring and coaching young women and female leaders, both in STEM as well as in other industries. And so I've taken those opportunities. I've been able to be part of advisory boards at a local college for women in leadership. I've also hosted a podcast in former companies for women in leadership. And I just think that there's such a unique and special opportunity for women who do get the opportunity to lead others to really share some of our experience, the good, the bad, and otherwise in some of the things that we navigate in kind of the corporate environment or in the crazy kind of speed of tech that can help empower others to, do the same and maybe chart a different course. I've been part of companies where I've been there for 14 to 15 years and also companies where I've been there less than a year to kind of help to get things up and running or potentially see what the cultural fit is like. And so I think that all of those opportunities in my professional career have just really afforded me the kind of dynamic experience that could potentially help others in their own path. So I'm really passionate about that.
Excellent. I'd love to hear about girl power and STEM. So, since you brought up mentoring, though, do you think you'd like to speak about a mentor that's been important to you in your career?
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate to have a lot of great mentors in my career. I think that one of the earliest that I can recall was a previous leader of mine who really challenged me not to just focus on execution and doing that well, but to think again more big picture and more strategically, and to not be afraid to challenge the status quo. I think especially women in leadership sometimes can be fearful to kind of put her hand up or be a voice in the room. And I think she really taught me that my voice did have value. I deserved to be heard. I did have good ideas. And that confidence in me really helped to propel me forward in my kind of professional career, as well as helped me to really kind of establish that passion for mentoring others as well. So I'm just really grateful to have that mentor that challenged me so early on so that I could, again, challenge myself in other ways.
I love it. And I think one of the things we've learned through doing these podcasts is learning about people's mentors. And
Yeah,
the depth of the impact people can have is so amazing. And it may not have even felt like much to them, but how it impacts you or how you can impact someone else can be so profound. So thank you for sharing that. Um,
absolutely.
what book or podcast has influenced you?
There are so many, especially related to providing a good customer experience. I think that's really where my passion lies. My dad founded and started his own business many, many years ago. It was a school and business interior business, but it was really founded on this idea of a customer-centric culture, as well as the employees who led the business. He really understood that that was why he was successful. And so the kind of books, podcasts, different things that I listen to kind of push myself professionally and my development, I think are all kind of aligned to that idea. One of the books that I really love the most, and I think that's made a pretty lasting impact on me, is The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. And I think one of the proudest moments I've had in my most current position at Squire was we held a workshop with our CSMs in person in San Diego. I would say this was a year and a few months ago. And we did a workshop on the five dysfunctions of a team to really establish kind of what was working, what wasn't working, and to really kind of peel back the layers of what makes our team great and what the opportunities were going into the new year, as well as establishing a very strong foundation of trust and transparency. We had very honest conversations. We talked about conflict and we got to know each other on a very deep level, which really enabled us to kind of ramp over the last year and a few months. I would say that we really have been able to sustain record low churn for the organization, improve our expansion of our revenue across our existing customer base. And I think that we're just focused on more kind of high impact activities. And we reduced a lot of that noise, as well as creating an environment in which the team can also uplift each other and have a lot more honest and transparent conversations too.
That's fantastic. Good work, too. Now, if you could spend a day with anyone, alive or historical, that you would learn from, who would?
That's also a tough question. I think there's so many
For me, it
great ones
changes
out there.
every
I would love
day.
to be able to. Yeah, exactly. Depending on what I need, what mood I'm in, what challenges I'm coming up against professionally, all of the things. I think that Jean Bliss comes to mind. She's really kind of the godmother of customer experience. She co-founded the CXPA. She's local to the greater Seattle area, I believe, as well. So kind of a soft spot there. But I think that just the way in which she leads with a customer obsessed kind of mentality and socializes, evangelizes that across any organization she's been a part of, I think is just really inspiring. And then I think I learn a lot from a leadership perspective from Simon Sinek. I just think that he's got some great nuggets about some of the challenges of leadership, particularly like middle management and how difficult it is to balance some of the strategic priorities of your executive group with your individual contributors, or if you're on the front lines with customers. And I think that there's so much to learn kind of from both perspectives. I like to take what I hope to believe is a pretty balanced approach of looking at functional leadership and strategic oversight and really thinking about all of these kind of spinning plates that encompass the customer experience, the employee experience as well. So I would just love to sit down and have dinner with the two of them together would be great so that I could learn from both of them from both sides. But there's so many great folks out there that we can learn a lot from. And I really believe that in order for us to be as effective as we can in driving customer experiences, we really have to be intellectually curious and want to seek out opportunities to learn from others. And so I'm always looking for new recommendations if anyone has any.
Well, once this goes live and it's up on LinkedIn, I am quite sure several people will be telling you what to think. So I'm sure people will be
I love it.
weighing in with their comments. Um,
Perfect.
so this has been great. What do you see as the future of the industry?
Yes, I think that customer success is really shifting into kind of this hybrid environment, right? Where we need to balance self service and automation and all of the AI technology that's coming out with some of those high value human touch points. I think that AI is such a powerful tool that we're going to be able to use and harness for a lot of good and a lot of impact. I think it's a matter of not if, we're adopting that and using it, but how we're going to do that and doing it in a way that doesn't replace humans, but augments our abilities to have higher level engagement. Again, reduce some of that noise for let's let the CSMs or the service or support professionals do exactly what they're good at, which is relationship management, seeking to understand what business objectives are most important for their customers and allowing us to, automate and digitally transform how customers can experience and engage with us in ways that we don't need to manage with humans. And so I think that's a critical shift for businesses. I'm very curious how others are kind of approaching this new age of AI and new technology that we're looking at. But I think that in order for us to scale more efficiently and effectively, we just have to embrace some of this technology and doing it in a way that makes sense and create more meaningful, stronger customer relationships and impact is going to be really interesting. So that's what I'm looking to do in a new opportunity and what I'm most curious about other companies doing in this new year as well.
I if you get a chance, and I shameless plug, I apologize, but we did a podcast a couple of months ago with a woman actually in tech who made a great joke about women in tech, but I'll let you find that. But what her product is, she's in contact center management.
Hmm.
And what they were doing is they have AI built in not to replace people, but to take all of the work that doesn't absolutely need a human's interaction, take that off
Exactly.
their plate so they can just focus on the person standing at the front desk and
Yep,
making sure
exactly.
that that customer exactly. So it's not just in the customer success realm, it's across all sorts of industries, and it's going to be fascinating to watch over the next couple of years. So thank you so much for bringing your perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think AI and technology is a really interesting conversation to have. And I'm, again, very curious how others are approaching this and looking forward to more conversation around it. It's not just the standard AI chatbots for a support or contact center. It's how can we use this? And we've been doing this with our CSM team of how we can unlock that technology to help us with supplying some recommendations maybe that we haven't thought of or being able to free up some time by helping us to create some personalized templates for things. So there's just the possibilities are limitless, but it's only as good as the data that you can put in and the instructions, right, that you give it and then the parameters. And so very curious how others are approaching this new year. It'll be a very interesting time.
it is. Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up?
No, I just appreciate this opportunity to get to talk with you and get to kind of talk about myself a little bit and my experience. I think that we're coming up on a very exciting time in CS and really thinking about customer experiences. And so I welcome any further conversation from anybody else who's in this space so that we can talk and share best practice, share what's working, share some ideas and thought leadership as to how we can approach some of these unique challenges. And I just look forward to any opportunity that I can contribute to any company's kind of strategy about some of these things that we've talked about today. And I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
MTMG, guidance that empowers.